Hey everyone, it's Richard Metal Fan here, bringing you guys an old school album review. I know, 2 album reviews in one day, which is kind of nuts, right? And as you can see below the title, today we're going to be looking into this album's 30th anniversary, which is today, which is crazy. This album is now 30 years old, and it's from one of the best metal bands from the 1990s. And as you can see below the title, today we're going to be looking into Cowboys from Hell by Pantera, the band's 6th album released on July 24th, 1990 through Atco Records. Now, this album right here, with compared to like the first 5 Pantera albums that pretty much like 95% of people don't know, but so just from this album to their final album, Reinventing the Steel, Pantera were originally known as a glam metal band, and they had a different singer. They had I forget his fucking name, and Dimebag Darrell was this was the time between that and I think the last album he would go by in Vulgar was Dimebag Darrell was actually called Diamond Darrell. Yeah. But it wasn't until I think their previous album, which came out in '88, called, I think it's Power Metal or something, where they had that stuff. But I feel like with this album, when it came time to the new decade, 1990, the band themselves changed up their style musically. They kind of with more of a heavier style, more groove into this album, and thus this pretty much what broke Pantera big, and pretty much what got them well known in the limelight. And vocally and just instrumentally, the band pretty much stepped it up a ton with just in the production, and everything. Like vocally, Phil Anselmo has sort of like those high kind of like falsetto stuff, but he also experimented with more sort of like screamy kind of like growly stuff that he's pretty much well known for today. Guitar wise, Dimebag, well then known as Diamond Darrell, the guy can just shred and do no wrong. The bass playing is pretty audible. Rex Brown has pretty much stepped it up compared to like the older albums. And drumming wise, Vinnie Paul, rest in peace, as well as Dimebag Darrell. He just does a really great job on the drumming, and like in my opinion, I feel like Vinnie Paul was one of the most underrated drummers in metal, or underappreciated if you ask me. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive into this album track by track. And starting things off is the title track of the album, Cowboys from Hell, which starts off with a very nice groovy riff that'll just get you just pumped up, and then it just boom hits you right in the face, and it's just a really great way to start out this album. And just Phil right here just sounds a lot more aggressive here, and Dime just really just shreds, especially around the 2.5 minute mark, and it has a really great cool solo. And this is pretty much a great way to start off this album. Just start off with a bang. Pretty much a new era, pretty much the start of what Pantera is pretty much known them for, from their little 10-year run from this up until their final album, Reinventing the Steel. Yeah, and moving on to the next song on the album, which is called Primal Concrete Sledge. It's just a very catchy song, and it's just nice and fast. And the little gripe I have a little bit, it's just a little minor thing, is I feel like the guitar solo on here could have been a little bit longer, but there are some nice little lead parts here and there, but I just feel like there should have been like a full guitar solo. And the vocals here are very, in my opinion, another little nitpick I have, it's pretty audible. I feel like if they were a little bit louder, the song would have been better, but the song itself is still pretty cool. And then moving on to Psycho Holiday, which is an extremely just catchy song, and this is pretty much where the whole band is pretty much at top. Very nice vocals from Phil, and the guitar solo is just fucking awesome, and just the bass is pretty cool, and the drums are just fast. Then we move on to the next song on the album, which is called Heresy, which starts off with a great riff that will get you headbanging, and then the drumming here is just pretty aggressive, and it just adds to the song with all the fatness. And just Phil just sounds awesome in this song, especially when he shrieks in the chorus, where he sort of does his little hey right there. It just sounds great vocally, and the song gets good around the 3.5 minute mark, where the riffs and just the tempo is just speed up, and this song is just heavy as shit. And then we go to one of the most known songs on this album, which is Cemetery Gates, and this is the album's first ballad, and it's one of the favorites from the song. And the vocals here are pretty melodic, and this is so far as for what we heard on the first few songs, and just some really great guitar work in here, and just I don't know, it just the leads in here, and just the rhythmically Rex and Vinny just do a really great job. I can't even speak today. Hey, overall, Cemetery Gates, another good song. Then we move on to another one of my favorite songs on the album, which is Domination. Has a really great riff, one of the best riffs I've ever heard so far, and this solo on this song just rips it up. And I love sort of like the slow rhythm part at the end with sort of like Dimebag sort of like doing a little bit of a tremolo picking, and then Phil just growls his way through the song, and it pretty much fits pretty much the tone of the song. And I don't know, just like Rex does a great job on the bass, has some really great bass lines, and Vinny has some really just great insane double bass on here. Anyway, next song on the album is called Shattered, and this song pretty much has the riffs and just the drumming and overall just aggressiveness in here. And this song is just very fast, and Phil is pretty much at his peak vocally here on this song. And then it just has a really great solo from Dimebag here, and it's just a banger. Anyway, moving on to Clash with Reality, which is a very groovy thrash song, and Phil's vocals sound really great, and he pretty much uses mainly falsettos on here, and the riffs here are just heavy, and this song feels like it kind of drags a little bit though, but it's still a good song. And then we move on to Medicine Man, which is, in my opinion, the weirdest song on the album. And this song has sort of like the verses here are pretty much spoken rather than sung, which sort of like adds to a little bit of a creepiness. It kind of reminds me of something from Far Beyond They're Driven with their song Good Lines Sink. I can't remember that song album, not the album, that song title, but it sort of like has that kind of little bit of vibe. Or I know this came before that, but I could definitely tell it's sort of like they would do it again with that. But yeah, I just feel like, but the only difference is this with this song, it has like really great riffs, and just the solos here are just really great. And then we move on to Message in Blood, which this song is kind of, which kind of gets boring after a while, but it still pisses out on most of the stuff they would do later. And Dimebag just gives a really great guitar solo on this song. And then we move on to The Sleep, which is similar to Cemetery Gates. It's another ballad, which showcases just a great performance from all the members of the band. It is simply just amazing. It has a very haunting acoustic intro and just goes right into just some great riffage that fits perfectly. And it sounds a little bit less like morbid than Cemetery Gates. It just has a little bit more of a creepiness to it. And then the album closes with The Art of Shredding, which starts off with a really great groovy bass intro, and just quickly changes to sort of like just extreme just thrashiness. It's a nice and fast way to end the album, hence just Dimebag just shreds on this album, which ironic with the song called The Art of Shredding. But yeah, overall great song. Now overall, Cowboys from Hell by Pantera is pretty much the start of the era that they were pretty much what got them well known, and pretty much musically what they're pretty much, a lot of fans would consider this, and a lot of people don't even acknowledge the first five. It's just like from this album to Reinventing the Steel is what they were known for, which I mean, I've heard some of the glam stuff and it's okay, but I just, like I said, I am that fan, but I just prefer their stuff, this stuff from, yeah. So if I were to give this album a score, I would give this a solid 9 out of 10. So yep, that's my review of Cowboys from Hell by Pantera, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the album, and I'll see you all in the next video. And as always, keep it metal.